What about it, YouTube? Alright, this video is about how atheism has reached a desperation point. Its prophets in the way of science, okay, because it's the scientists who are held as these prophets in this goes back 150 years, right? So the social engineers, and it really goes back further than that, but science, since at least the days of Francis Bacon in his book, The New Atlantis, science has been regarded as what will transcend our species into the next stage of development. Okay, so this was the idea of the social engineers. It was how to separate the consciousness from the old traditional spiritual connectedness through your religion or ritual practices or whatever they may have been for whatever peoples, but certainly in this nation we're talking about mostly Christians that they were attacking. That's why it's mostly the Christians that atheists attack. They don't go after other people in particular as much as they do Christians. But see, this is the thing, is that it was a gradual move away from the old ways into this new scientific future. And so the social engineers like Galton Darwin and these other people, okay, so for I don't know what titles they would give themselves, but it's the scientists that they've relied upon to fill that role as their prophets and their seers and their revelators, right? So they've finally run out of wiggle room. Okay, they're being called on the carpet with their bullshit about like dark energy and dark matter. When science starts giving you things that cannot be measured and cannot be observed, and telling you that it's facts, and then, you know, all of a sudden now they're up against a wall. And it's not just that, but every aspect of science actually has been pushed to its limits of what answers it can provide, and they're being exposed as being a bunch of frauds and charlatans, throwing nothing but opinion and imagination and charlatanism into this scientism that avoids the scientific method, and after getting called on the carpet for this, it's finally to the point where the atheism doesn't work anymore, and they know it. They know it. So they've got to run somewhere else. They've got to squeeze by somehow else. And so the way that they can do that, and you'll hear this from that theoretical physicist, Michio Kaku, this dude right here. Yeah. Okay. Michio Kaku, alright, talks about how he goes back, I can't remember the guy's name, but he goes back to the ideas of another dude who was a pantheist. Okay, so that's where we're headed, is pantheism, right? Pantheism. Now, real quick, if you're not familiar with pantheism, it basically says that there was a God, okay, there was an intelligence, there was a designer, there was a cause, there was causality to the universe, okay? Because they have to acknowledge that there's that much minimum. Even with science, I mean, to prove shit happens is impossible. So, and they're backed up against a wall. So what they're going to do is this is pantheism, where God, this intelligence, this designer, morphed himself from a void of nothingness into everything. So God is everything. God is the manifestation of creation itself. That's what God is. So God changed from an invisible, omnipotent nothingness, you know, intelligence within a void. He morphed from that into everything. And so everything you see, everything you touch, everything that ever is or ever was or will be, that is God. So then you can argue, well, even you yourself, are a part of that. You are a part of that deity, right? That's part of the pantheistic model, okay? And a close kissing cousin to that would be deism. The deist believes that there was a God, but all he did was create everything, then he got bored and left, and he has no interest in what's happening from this point on. So, what is the significance of this, though? All right, the significance of this is it allows the social engineers' intention of atheism and scientism, it allows them to continue on with their ultimate goal of this whole process, of this unfoldment of the new religion of atheism. And that is, it still allows and really just naturally pushes the mind towards moral relativism still, right? Because if you're a pantheist, there still is no ultimate consequence. There's no vested interest in your choices, okay? Same thing with deism. There's no one there to hold you accountable. There's nothing to fear when you die because of whatever kind of evils that you've done. So it allows the mind to go into this moral relativistic, Machiavellian, sociopathic brain pattern where you become completely self-absorbed, self-obsessed, and all the choices you make and everything you do is just for the immediate moment's gain. And that's really all that you care about. There's no worry of a future. There's no worry of who you may hurt, or and really you'll see this too with the atheists. Of course, they've never come out and admit it fully, but you can see it in their attitude. How it's almost like this swarmy, like, you're the dumb one, you believer, we're the smart one. See? But then if you take that even further with their moral relativism and everything else, what that means is we can see what this is all about. This is all about you being dumb and vulnerable and easy to take advantage of so that I can be Machiavellian and take advantage of you. See? So that's what happens to civilization. That's why moral relativism breaks down civilization. Is you have a larger and larger segment of the population that feeds off the part of the population that knows how to act right and that is decent. Okay, and see, that's what they rely on. They're so short-sighted. What they don't understand is if everybody thought like them, right? What they count on is there to be decent people for them to survive in their Machiavellian, shithead, degenerate, moral relativistic, atheistic mentality. They rely on that. Otherwise, if everybody was that way, if everybody was a moral relativist, if everybody was out for themselves at all times, everybody would be chewing on each other's arms in a big cannibalistic fest of death. So nothing would happen. There would be no commerce, there would be no trade, there would be no trust between people, there would be no social cohesion, there would be nothing, no world to live for. It would be nothing but a complete shithole. And that's the direction that civilization goes till it collapses. By you moral relativists and all of the ill behavior and shit that you bring with it, the homosexuality, the pedophilia, and the rest of it. And it's on its way, folks. It's on its way in a quick way. All right, this slide down to a complete collapse. All right, so this is what, and you'd say, well, why in the world would Mikio Kaku and I don't know what he really thinks deep down inside, or who he works for, or who's paying his fucking, lecture fees and shit. I don't know. Okay, I really don't know. It could just be that, he's honestly confused himself into this position and doesn't realize that he's playing the role of prophet for the social engineers. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. But you're going to say, why would anybody? Why would Galton Darwin? Why would any of them want to see society collapse? Well, this is where it really gets interesting, but it becomes theoretical. Okay, I can't prove any of this part, but it would seem that the elite, all right, or whatever you want to call them, okay, the privileged class, they know that there's a number of stresses that we're headed for in the future, regardless. Okay, we have increasing populations. We have and making a corporate capitalistic model out of it, and making people work like slaves in order to have basic needs, energy, and comforts. Okay, so that's the old model. They know that going in the future, this model can't last forever. With increasing populations and limited amounts of resources and countries you can invade and things like that, it's going to become harder and harder and harder to maintain this model. Meanwhile, sitting in the back are free energies and all kinds of technologies that they won't allow because they can't make money on it, right? But they already have ways to, if they cared to improve, the average person's life and wanted to do good things for the species, the stuff's sitting there in the back burner, but they can't make money on it, right? So this transition would be a collapse where the population eats itself, okay, chews each other's arms off and becomes cannibalistic and decadent and collapses. And then it'll be reboot time, right? And what they're counting on, what the social engineers are counting on, is that there will be such a level of decadence that there will be nothing stopping them from wiping the slate clean, all right, instating a new standard of behavior, which will be a completely separate classes of we're talking about something completely new, right? Where who knows what it will be mapped out as, but what it will look like is there'll be very, very much fewer people on the planet. There will be the privileged class will inherit the earth, and there'll be only those left behind that won't complain, that are controllable 100%, who will gladly do anything that they're told to do in this new system. Okay, because the old system will be like, oh, see what happened when we let people do what they wanted, see what happened, see, you know what I mean? They're allowing this. They're allowing this moral relativism to take shape so that it will be demonized in the end as it collapses society, so that they can come in with the new rule book and set it forward. Now, the only hope, really, that humanity has, okay, is that there's enough people that say, no, I'm good without you. And me and mine around me are good without you, and we're going to act right, and we're going to take care of each other, and we don't need anything or anybody else to do it. Okay? That's what they're trying to break up. That's why they try to break up families and communities and get everybody just electronically wired into some cybernetic, non-physical world, right? Where the contacts you have are less and less physical, and the connections that you make are less and less bonding, and making you just a self-centered, selfish, narcissistic feeder, right? Consumeristic, materialistic shit brain. Okay, that's the design. Okay, and then you go out in the world and all you do is feed into your own ego. You don't ever try to reach outside of that for any depth or anything, and then every answer is given to you that you may have. Okay, so this has been my video. I was trying to watch for the 10-minute mark because I know I cut off the volume for 10 seconds for some reason at the 10-minute mark, but I missed it. So anyway, science is moving to pantheism so that it can maintain moral relativism, so that this move in this social engineering model of decadence and societal collapse can further on, even in the face of looking ridiculous in their atheism. Okay, you see, so they've got to do this last-ditch effort of pantheism so that they can get by for a little while longer, and then get people arguing over that, right? But it's obvious to anybody that you know, that's really in tune. It's obvious that a computer itself doesn't just like, you know, start off as a nothing, and then you know, it was a nothing that created itself, you know, and then had programming to boot. See, so that's what I'm getting at, is there's more complexity than just this shit appeared and now we've figured that out because we call it pantheism. No, there's ways to act and consequences for behavior, and there's a conscience that's programmed into us. And time again, mankind is relearning the lessons of ignoring the conscience. So this is integral also. This is part of the creation. This is part of our species model itself. Okay? Whether, you know, and even if you're that into evolution, then you'd have to ask yourself, why did we evolve this way? Why did we evolve with emotions and with altruisms, and why would we even have a concept of right and wrong? Why would that evolve, right? But since it did evolve, right, wouldn't you say that it evolved for a reason, obviously, and that rather than turning your back on it all and saying, oh, we don't need it, it's a waste, that, you know, there's no consequence, so fuck it. You know, why wouldn't you have the humility to say, if shit happens, but it happens this way, it must happen this way for a reason. So I better stick with it just because it works. You see what I'm saying? You guys want to turn your backs on it, everything that's traditional, everything that came from the past, because it was all just a bunch of knuckle-dragging proto-chimps writing down fairy tales, right? No, actually they were very intelligent, very humble, and probably really more their quality of mind was probably better because they didn't have the distractions that we have. We're under such attack all the time from distractions and just a busy life, work pace, you know, just always like this, you know. So back then they had a little more time for reflection. They didn't have all the distractions, but they certainly weren't stupid, and they certainly weren't writing down fairy tales, and you're going to find out. You atheists are going to find out. All right, that's the end of the video. Bye.